All right, we welcome University of Oregon representatives to the dais. We'll begin with an opening statement from Coach Altman.
I thought our energy was pretty good early. With them having to come clear across the country, I thought we came out and set the tone early and never really let them get into the game. And that's a tribute to the guys for getting themselves ready and focused and ready to play right from the start.
All right, if you would, please direct questions to Oregon student athletes Casey Benson and Dylan Brooks, and if you could designate a student athlete to answer, that would be great.
I guess we'll start with Dylan. There's a lot always said about a 16-1 matchup, and Holy Cross came in here by making 3 straight upsets. Did that enter your mind, or did you just get the ball and go?
Holy Cross is, a great team. Like you said, they came out on the road and won 3 straight. And then they're coached by a great coach. I was kind of scared, to be honest. We've been making a lot of history, in Oregon, but I didn't want to make that kind of history, for a 16 seed to be the 1 seed. But we really just came out there and just delivered the game plan that Coach Altman had, and just really just outworked them and just really took it to them. They only played like 7 guys, so if we just kept running and just kept attacking the boards, they'll wear out.
And this is for Dylan as well, and that's what I want to follow up on was the board. So you had a 44-28 advantage on the boards. How much during the week leading up to the game did Coach Altman preach to you that you have to own the boards?
Oh yeah, he always preaches that. And when you only get 2 boards, he's on you. If you get under your average, he's on you. And that goes to anybody. Casey, he had a bad performance on the boards, but we just go out there and just really try to out rebound teams, and that's how we win games.
More questions for Oregon student athletes?
Howie Stallwick, Portland Tribune. Sorry about your bad performance on the boards there, Casey. But despite that, could you talk a little bit about Chris Boucher's performance? Both of you guys, actually. Just, he was wowing the crowd. He was pretty good tonight.
No, Chris was extremely active tonight, flying all over the place. And, we've come to expect that from him. With his long arms and just his activity. He's a guy who can get so much done in such a little bit amount of time. He played 17 minutes and he had 20. So he does a really good job just flying around and being active, bringing a ton of energy on both ends of the floor.
Dylan?
Chris is, a great player who, came along, getting better over the season. And like Casey said, that's what we expect from him every day. Blocking shots, hitting that corner 3, and then, rebounding the basketball, what he did. He had a great game. And, we were just looking for him on that bottom, especially I was, every time he calls for it, I just throw it up there and let him go get it. So, and that contributes to, his hard work in the offseason especially.
Question for both of you guys. How long do you enjoy this one before you start thinking about St. Joe's or Cincinnati?
Casey, let's start with you.
We're thinking about that right now. We're going to go watch the game, obviously, and just get ready to go. We know this one's over, so next one's the most important one, obviously. So just got to take it one game at a time and come out ready to go with the same focus, the same intensity. We know either team is going to be a really tough game, so just got to be focused and get ready.
Dylan?
We just celebrated right after the game, and then now we're just focused and keen into whoever wins this matchup out of St. Joe's and Cincinnati. That's out of our head, and now we got to move on to the next game and really focus and bring the same intensity that we did into this game. So.
All right, we'll dismiss the student athletes and thank them, and once they've left, we'll direct questions to Coach. Thank you, guys. Questions for Coach Altman?
Danny, you talked about the start, but is that in a game like this the key? We saw Michigan State today fall down 15-2 and a hole they couldn't get out of just to kind of get a lead where the other team didn't get a lot of confidence.
Well, we thought so. You know, we thought if we could get off on the right foot, and you know, we had a lot of guys. You know, with Dylan with 5 assists and Elgin with 4. You know, I thought their ball movement and penetration kick. You know, and Dylan throwing it up to Chris really got him going. So. And I thought the first 4 minutes was important. I think it was 7-2. We were shooting free throws out of the timeout, and we'd gotten to the offensive boards and set a tone there. So I thought our tone defensively was good. Our tone on the boards was good. So I really liked the first 4-minute segment.
Dana, what has clicked for this team defensively? I mean, rebounding the last few games, if you look back into the conference tournament, you guys have really excelled there, especially in the first part of the game when you guys are able to create that kind of lead.
Well, 8 of the last 9 games, we have been good on the boards, with the exception of the Arizona game. So, I think it's something that our guys have focused in a little bit more. Defensively, I think our activity is much better than it was earlier in the season. Our communication has improved some. So fundamentally, I think we've just gotten a little bit better. But obviously, moving forward, it's got to be every time out. You let down just a little bit, and your season can be over. So hopefully, we'll keep that same focus, that same intensity Sunday.
Anything more for Coach?
Matt Calkins of the Seattle Times. Dana, a little off topic. Obviously, you guys were dominant today. Utah was dominant in their first round game as well, but all the other Pac-12 teams lost, and they were all favored. What, if anything, do you think that reflects?
I'm not sure they were all favored, but they were all in a position. They missed some free throws. Cal had some bad luck this week. It wasn't a good first weekend for our conference. I will admit that. Free throws hurt a couple of the ball teams, but it's one of those things you go in and. We did have a great conference year. Nobody's going to take anything away from that. But if you don't perform in the tournament, then it gives you opportunity for people to attack your league. And unfortunately, that's happened. So, and the same will be true if Utah and us don't advance. We know that. That's just the reality of it. And that's fine. That's fine. We're in this position. We'd much rather be in this position than any other, so we just got to go make it work. We got to play. I sure hope Utah plays, and we both just got to make it work.
Talking with Dylan and Jordan, they said they both watched the Michigan State game today, and it was really one of those moments where it kind of hit them. Really, in March, any team can lose. Was that, or did you touch on that at all today in your pregame message?
We didn't. Our guys have been watching the games. That's one of the advantages of playing late. It's tough because you watch everybody else play, and it seems like it takes forever to get to your game. But, I heard them talking yesterday when, a couple 12s upset 5s. And, when we got together, today, I didn't have to say anything. I just kind of listened to them. And that's, guys taking ownership in their team, which you really like as a coach. I didn't have to say anything to them. I heard them talking about it. I think it's much more effective, if they're talking about it and it's something on their mind. If there's something that's obvious that they're missing, we'll talk about it. But I really like it when the guys, kind of talking to each other about, man, did you see that? And we got to get ready. That's much more effective than me trying to convince them that something's important.
I was just going to ask if you had a chance to look at Cincinnati or St. Joe's at all.
I have not. We had some coaches do some work on them, but I have not. I'll start tonight, get back to the hotel, and watch this game, and then our film man's already got my iPad loaded up with both teams, and we'll go to work on whichever team, we're fortunate enough to play. But I have not. A couple of the coaches have worked on Cincinnati. A couple of them have started work on St. Joe's, but I don't do that until we're done with one opponent. So we'll get focused tonight. We'll have tomorrow. We don't practice. I think we practice at 1. So we'll have plenty of time to talk and get a game plan in and break down some film and be ready to go.
One quick follow-up. You're talking about film study. When you looked at Holy Cross and what you planned, did it come out as you planned? Did you see holes in that 1-3-1, or how did tonight come through from what you had scouted?
There were two things. We thought we really needed to flatten their 1-3-1 out. I didn't think the previous teams did a very good job of getting the ball to the baseline and attacking, from the baseline. They tried to attack too much outside. So we tried to get it flattened out a little bit more. And Elgin and Dylan did a really good job of driving that thing from the baseline and, throwing it up to Chris underneath. Dylan with 5 assists and no turnovers. Those were all penetration up at the basket. We wanted to push it. We didn't want to play at their pace. And I thought we got some early runouts, which really helped us. And then the last thing, we thought we could beat them on the boards just because of our athleticism, and the fact that we had been rebounding the ball well. So, our guys in those 3 areas, I thought, did a good job. And, we only turned it over 7 times, which, we were worried about that, just guys getting lazy with passes. But for the most part, we did a pretty good job.
How much do you attribute Elgin Cook playing maybe his best basketball to you guys playing your best basketball of the year?
Well, Elgin, had a real disappointing road trip to Cal and Stanford, and since then, he's been unbelievable. He's been so good. Everything's team, and our championship game against Utah, he had 6 assists. And tonight, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 6 shots. All I was worried about was making plays. He had a double-double with 13 rebounds, So Elgin's playing great, and that's one of those things we're really going to miss him. For 3 years, he's been a big part of our team, and just watching his progression, is fun as a coach, because you hope your guys get better and take on a bigger role every year, and man, he's done a tremendous job for us.
Let's take one more for Coach if we have one. Last question.
Is this kind of what you envisioned when you recruited him 3 years ago, that he'd be playing like this as in your system?
Well, we hoped, you never know what path a young man's going to take, but we were really pleased with his athleticism when we recruited him. I thought he was a good competitor, and I thought he wanted to get better. And you mix that athleticism with a young man attitude who wants to get better and is a fighter, someone who'll compete, and they got a chance to get pretty good, and in some recruiting, you miss on a guy, but if you've got someone